I call the honourable member for Moore.
For Immigration and Border Protection. Will the minister inform the House of the benefit to the budget of the government's consistent border protection policies? How important is it to sustain the government's successful policies into the future?
I call the Honourable the Minister for Immigration and Border Protection.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I thank the member for Moore for his question, who showed strong support for the Coalition's strong border protection policies. Madam Speaker, it's been 160 days since the last successful people smuggling venture to Australia, and to get those results, Madam Speaker, you must be consistent, you must have resolve, and you must follow through. And you know, Madam Speaker, people smugglers can see jelly in the back of a government when they see it. They can recognise it, and they recognise the jelly in the back of the previous government when it came to border protection and their 4 failed immigration ministers, which now litter the front bench of the opposition. And the Australian people can see the jelly in the back too, Madam Speaker, and they can see it in the back of this leader of the opposition, who still refuses to acknowledge the success of this government to date in fixing the mess that their government left behind. They remain in denial, Madam Speaker. They remain in denial about the problem, and they remain in denial about the solution that this government is putting in place. But yesterday, Madam Speaker, we heard a new excuse from the Shadow Minister in why the boat started again under the Labor Party. We'd heard the push factors and all of those issues, but yesterday we heard that as a result that the people smugglers had access to technology. They had access to so it wasn't Kevin Rudd's fault, it was Steve Jobs' fault that the boat started again. It was he blames the iPhone for the boats coming back under the Labor Party. What are we going to hear from next? That the budget deficit is the result of the cloud raining down debt and deficit on the budget? Madam Speaker, this opposition is in denial. They are in denial about the problem they have left for this government, and they're in denial about the solutions this government is putting in place. Madam Speaker, we need to stay the course. We need to stay the course on border protection, and those opposite would change it all because they oppose the successful border protection policies of this government. They will turn back on turnbacks. You can be assured of that, Madam Speaker, and this government won't be turning on turnbacks. You can be assured. We will stay the course and we will follow through on offshore processing. We will never roll over like they always will on offshore processing. It's in their DNA to do it. We will follow through on ensuring that people who are processed offshore will not be settled in Australia. And that's why we're talking to Cambodia, Madam Speaker. Perhaps the former immigration minister has a Nigerian solution he wants to put forward before this parliament to follow through on what he said would happen, and that no one would be resettled in Australia. We're going to follow through and make sure that happens, Madam Speaker, and we will never honour the people smugglers' promise, which that opposition still wants to do by providing permanent visas to those who came illegally by boats. It will not happen under this government.